Hello everyone, Godre here, and this is my money brief. This is the first money brief of 2025. And so, on that note, today's money brief is basically going to be about where to invest in 2025. I know that last year was very difficult for a lot of people, so investing probably wasn't top priority for you. But this is 2025 and is bound to be completely different, I think. I kind of feel like this is the year that Nigeria starts to turn around or things starts to turn around for the better. Last year was basically a transition year, in my opinion, because that's when a lot of all these policies were put in place, whether it's forex policy, whether it's fiscal policies. Most of them were sort of the groundwork for those things were laid last year. So this is the year that you're going to start to invest in so that you can reap. Don't invest at the top. So you got to invest now. And so that exactly is what today's money brief is going to be about. But before I get into what you should be investing, let's talk a little bit about the macros, because the macros determine where to put your money in and when to put your money in. So one of the first macros is inflation. Inflation is very important because in a high inflationary environment, your investment choices can be completely different from a low investment environment. Last year was pretty high in terms of inflation, and we all saw that with increase in cost of goods and services. This year, I think that inflation will still be sticky. Sticky means that it's still going to be like at that high levels of upper 20%. I don't think it's going to fall below 25%. I know the president says that he's targeting 15% inflation. I doubt we're going to hit those numbers. I kind of think inflation will probably average at about 25 or so percent if things sort of remain stable, and that's because of what economists tend to call base effects. And so I think inflation is going to be sticky at the high levels. So if we don't expect high inflation this year as we did last year, I think investment options will be a lot more for people, and at least there's a lot of money for you to invest in. Recall last year I said it was spend now, save later. So this time around, I think it's just spend now, save wisely. So the other thing is Forex. Last year was crazy for the exchange rate. We saw the Naira go from about 900 Naira on the official market, 910 Naira from the official market, and close about 1,553 or thereabout. Over 40% or so depreciation in value. That's in the official market. In the black market, it was slightly better or slightly lower in terms of depreciation. And that's because at the black market, the exchange rate was already over 1,000 Naira at some point towards the end of last year, and then closed at about 1,600 something. However, we do know that at some point last year, the exchange rate was around 1,819. So no surprises there that last year was brutal for a lot of people from an exchange rate point of view. However, this year, I think that the exchange rate is going to be stable this year. It might not strengthen as much as people think, but I think we're going to have a bit of a stable exchange rate. I see it oscillating between the 1,450-ish level and 1,600 level, which is right about 5% appreciation or depreciation. So which I think is a bit stable for us. So I don't see us getting to that 1,718 levels, at least based on the fundamentals that I'm currently seeing in the economy. So except maybe oil prices just crash below $30 and then Nigeria stops producing crude oil, or there's some kind of major insecurity or global conflict, or maybe another COVID. So these are the sort of things that if it does happen, then I could revise my projection. But at the moment, I think inflation is likely exchange rate is going to be stable this year. And of course, in terms of economic growth, I think we're going to have better economic growth this year compared to last year. The projection is that we're going to probably close about 3.68-ish in 2024. And so I think 2025 will even be better, because if we did grow last year, that was terrible for a lot of people. I kind of think that this year will be better. So with those three in mind, we now go into where you should be investing in 2025. So the first one for me, my love and what I like investing is equities. I think the stock market is going to be one of those areas that you should invest in this year. Now, a lot of people missed the boat last year because the stock market returned 30-something percent last year, which was better than inflation rate. Stock market beat inflation rate last year. I think kind of hit 37 or so percent in terms of returns. Now, inflation rate ended at about 34%. So for those who invested in stocks, they did much better last year than most asset classes. And I think this year would also be good. Now, I don't think we're probably going to see stocks fly high as much as it did last year, but I think stocks are at a very good entry point for people. There's still a lot of stocks that have very low multiples. Multiples is basically what determines whether a stock is expensive or not. So the lower the multiples, the cheaper the stock. The higher the multiples, the more expensive the stock is. So a lot of stocks still have low multiples. And the way multiples work is the closer multiples are to 1, the cheaper the stock is. So the farther away they are from 1, the more expensive the stock. So when you see a stock that has a multiple of maybe 20x, then that's very expensive. But think about it, most banking stocks still have multiples of about 5, 6, 7, right? And most even like blue chip stocks still have multiples of over 10. And then some stocks don't have multiples at all because their earnings were negative last year. Case in point, MTN. So they're going to be stocks that are going to be out there for the taking. I can't start listing those stocks now on this Money Brief, but of course, I'm going to be mentioning them a lot in my other podcast, which is called Follow the Money. So you're going to see them there. Now, the other asset class that I think you should invest in is Forex. Yes, Forex. No, before I get to Forex, I think US stocks. US stocks did very well last year as well. With the Donald Trump presidency coming in, I think US stocks are ripe for a correction. So a correction means that some of the prices might go down. So when they go down, that is usually a good time to enter. It's not always a good time to enter when stocks are up. You want to enter when stocks are also down. So watch out for US stocks as well. Now, back to Forex. So now, why do I say Forex? Look, you want to hedge, man. You want to hedge your bets. You don't want to put everything in equities alone or in other asset classes. You want to make sure that, in case things just go south, like I said, anything can happen, you want to have a very good hedge. And so Forex is usually a good hedge. Now, I'm not saying to speculate or to dollarize Naira and all that, but I think it kind of makes sense that you have some of your savings in dollars. It's always important to do that. I learned to do that a few years ago, and I think that is something that has really, really helped. It can help cover for, shocks that do happen in the economy sometimes. And guess what, man? Even your policymakers all have savings in Forex as well. So it's not a big deal. It's not like you're not crazy or you're not unpatriotic if you have savings in Forex. So I think that that's one thing that if you didn't do it last year, try as much as possible to do that this year. It could even be just $50 that you're saving every month. It could make a huge difference. Now, the other thing that you should also invest in is Forex-Denominated investment or Forex-related investment. So whether it's Euro bonds, or other Forex denominated bonds that Nigeria often gives out, I think those might be very good investment. In fact, Nigeria did a bond last year. It wasn't a Euro bond, it was just a bond, and he sold for about 9.75%, which is just a crazy yield. Imagine making 9% on dollars. Abroad, dollar bonds are typically like maybe 1% or thereabout in terms of their return. So these ones were getting like 9%. So watch out for those sort of bonds when they do come out because they are viable investments. Now, the next investment that you should be looking out for this year is FGN bonds. I know the government borrows like crazy, but you know what? I think that the government has the capacity to pay at least for now. So there's some bond, issues out there that will even be done this year that can give you as much as 16-17%. See, you don't get these things all the time. Like I say, I remember when Treasury bills was even going for like 4-5%. Treasury bills now is going for over 20%. In fact, in some cases, it's even 19 because it dropped at some point last year. So if you can see Treasury bills to buy, you better invest in them as well because that's also a very good hedge for inflation. It's also a very good investment that you can make. So again, FGN bonds and Treasury bills, Nigeria is about to borrow about 9 trillion again this year. That's what we have in the 2025 budget. So that means there's going to be likely more borrowing. So you want to go for more borrowing in 2025. Now another investment, and this is for people who have money. Well, even if you don't have money, you can just join forces with friends, is real estate. Real estate is a very good investment choice now because unlike before when you buy land, you probably buy land so that it can appreciate 5 years from now, and then you can sell, or 6 years from now, and all that stuff. Man, real estate has changed now because there is a surge in demand for housing in Nigeria, especially in big cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Enugu, Kano, and places like that. There's a huge demand for real estate. And there's even a better demand for short-let apartments. It's incredible. Most apartments were fully booked this December. And I think so long as Nigeria continues to attract, it continues to be an entertainment hub, you're likely going to see these things happen all the time. Easter again, it's likely going to be fully booked because people are always going to want to come around. Summer is going to be fully booked. So almost every quarter, there's going to be a reason, there's going to be a bumper period for people who have real estate investment that is ready to be monetized. So whether it is short-let apartments or hotels or even rent, I kind of think that people are going to one day get into monthly rental. It's likely going to happen pretty soon. In fact, it's already happening, but I think it's likely going to increase. And there's also opportunities for even regular 1 year rental because people now are looking for a different kind of housing. People like younger people want boutique housing. You don't have gone are the days where you just want a 3 or 4 bedroom flat. Some people just want 1 or 2 bed, well furnished, well done, even service because nobody wants the stress of diesel or fuel and all that kind of. So that's one huge opportunity that you can tap into if you have free cash, if you haven't done it already. So, and if you don't even have the money, you can even team up with your friends and family, and then you can invest in some of those things. So last asset class I want to also talk about is mutual funds. Mutual funds did very well last year. Not all of them, but most mutual funds did well last year. So mutual funds is basically just pulling funds together. Is companies pulling funds together, licensed companies pulling funds together, and then investing on behalf of their fund providers or just subscribers. So there are funds out there that are approved by the Security and Exchange Commission. Make sure they're approved ones. So don't go and give all those ones that are not approved. Give them good investment. Put your money with them, and then they can invest and give you very good returns. It's really better for people who may not have time to be checking investment all the time, especially very passive investors. So that's also a good one that you can do. Now, I remember I said last, but one more before I go. One more. Crypto. Yes. I'm not going to invest in Bitcoin at the moment because I think it's high. But watch out for altcoins. Those are the coins that are not Bitcoins that are still pretty low. I think there are opportunities somewhere in there. If you don't really need to know about crypto to invest in crypto, to be honest. Don't bother yourself with all the technicalities. Just talk to crypto people and tell them, I just want the traditional cryptos, like those traditional ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum. They're very traditional ones. So I think you can also invest in them, if for nothing, for the future. So those are my investment ideas for 2025. There's an interesting article on Nairametrics. I think it's going to be posted on the link below so that you can also read. There's going to be a bit more on where you can invest in this year on Nairametrics. So watch out as we give you more insights. And of course, we're going to be giving you a lot of tips, investment tips, and investment recommendations as well. Maybe stock market recommendation and all of that. So watch out for that on this channel as we go on. So that is my money brief for today. I hope I haven't spoken for too long. I know it's meant to be a money brief, but this is a very important thing to talk about. So that's it. Do have a most profitable week ahead. Bye.